So South Africa is on the right path when it comes to cricket in South Africa. Why do I say that? Well, that's what the show is all about. I'm going to be explaining to you guys why I feel that currently, with the decisions that everybody's making in the higher places, with regards to coaches, with regards to the DOC, with regards to everything that is happening in South African cricket higher up, I think that every decision that they've made so far has been pretty decent. I don't have too many things that I can say negatively about what has been happening with cricket in South Africa so far and the path that they are on going forward. So today's show is going to be about all of this. I'm going to obviously give you guys some insight from different articles and show you different articles on why I think that is the case and what has led me to believe that that is the case. So before we get started with today's show, before we get going, please subscribe to the channel. Please click that notification bell for all future videos as well. There's a couple of things that I also want to announce before the show starts, and that is that the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine has been published. Now, because it's kind of off season at the moment, and because we aren't necessarily in the height of the cricket season in South Africa, we decided to do a magazine that covered both months as a review for the last season, as well as looking ahead at the new season and trying to get some of the coaches' perspectives on the matter. The latest issue is the season review, issue 32. So please go and get your latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine. And know that every single magazine is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description to subscribe for free and then get your new issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine as well while you are there too. There's also a couple of other things that I'd like you guys to please do. I'd like you also to go to our Patreon account and become a patron today. If you want to help us continue the shows and bring you more of these shows on a regular basis, then please get involved with the Patreon account. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. It's as low as buying me a coffee a month. So please get involved, guys, and become a patron to support the channel and to support all the content creators that we have as well to continue doing what they are doing. I also would like you guys to please smash the like button, comment, and share, and then go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your regular updates. So, without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. I'm looking forward to discussing this one, and I'm also going to bring on some special guests onto the show as well today. It's been a long time since I've spoken to them too, so let's get into it. Good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host Khalid Mohidin, and this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. Welcome, Wakas. I'm good. How are you, bro? It's good to see you back in the live chat, in the live comments as well. It's good to see all of you guys again. I know we haven't been as regular with the shows because it's off season currently, and there isn't too much to talk about every single day when it comes to this particular channel. But we're going to try and bring you regular shows as much as possible from today onwards because I miss you guys and I miss talking to you guys about cricket. I mean, it's my happy place majority of the time, and this is where I get a lot of happiness from talking to you guys. So I really want you guys to be engaged and continue watching this channel. So let's do this once again. Just need to send something to someone quickly. Sorry, guys. Uh, Cool. So, yeah, let's get into today's show. Before I bring on Stuart on the show, he's waiting in the back end at the moment. I just want to go through some things before I get started. Ahmed's in the comment section saying, "Hi, bro. Do you know about any South African playing in the CPL this year? I will try to get a list for you and then do a show on that alone, so that we can go into depth with everything, and give you a proper a show on all of this because there will be a couple of names that are there as well. Let me just get into some of the major topics and why I think so. Now, there's been a couple of things that has happened recently, particularly a match that really made me smile, because not so long ago, I think it was about 2 years ago, um, I did a little experiment, and I kind of put together teams and put them against each other, and I made it like a SA Blue versus SA Red. And then a couple of years later, we are seeing that this has been actually happening behind the scenes. So I'm going to share with you a little piece that we put up on on the site, as well. It's on, that exactly SA Blue versus SA Red, and that was a match that took place with majority of the SAA or South African players, as well as some East under 19 players. So what happened in the match? It happened on Sunday. SA Blue won the toss and elected to bat first. The team managed to post 226 all out in a 50 over clash, guys, by the way. Bayer Swanepoel, who is in our latest issue of the magazine as well, he got 48 or 48 balls with the bat. And Keegan Lyon Catchett got 36. And 5 wickets fell after the top five collectively only contributed 48 runs. The Red team's Tsepo Moreke, 3 for 48, and Gerald Coetzee, 3 for 35, were the main wicket takers on for their side, and Senator Mutasami put the subsequent best figures of 2 for 48. Then the red innings compromised good starts from Gerald Coetzee, comprised of good starts from Gerald Coetzee, 32, Senator Mutasami, 30, and Tony DeZorzi, 31. The top scorer, however, was Kyle Verreynne with 36 and David Teager with 49 off 57 balls. Kwena Mapaka stood out with 2 for 40, mainly for the dismissals of Proteas players DeZorzi and Mutasami, while Divan Engelbrecht was the top wicket taker for his side with 3 for 46. They finished on 225 for 7 after the target was updated to 224. The red team won by 3 wickets. And here's your scorecards, guys, just to have a look at who was in this team. There's Jordan Herman, Luan Pretorius, Keegan Peterson, Matthew Prietsky, Kwena Mapaka, Keegan Nine Catchett, Bayer Swanepoel, Skalk Engelbrecht, Lizard Williams, and Tristan Lewis, and then Divan Engelbrecht as well. And then Lutus Pamla, obviously, in the bowlers, Jeru Kutsia, Tsepo Moreke, Merrick Brett, and Senator Mutsami, and Simeon De Bruin, that was in the opposition team. And then some batters, Zubair Hamza, I've already mentioned Gerald, Tony DeZorzi, of course, Calvarena, Devon Mare. I've mentioned Tiga already. Simon De Bruin, I've mentioned Merrick Brett, and then obviously Tsepo Moreke. So that was the teams that took part in that particular match. And also don't miss out on the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine as well. And then there's something else that I really want to show you guys. It's Jennifer Lopez is an ad, guys, on the site. Let's go into the next step, and that is what's going to be happening with regards to South Africa recently. So we put this up on the website as well, the men's national team's updates. So here are some updates that you guys need to know. Updates across the main team is SAA. The squad is currently in camp at the Center of Excellence in Pretoria as they prepare for the tour to Sri Lanka. The squad departs on Wednesday, the 31st of May. So tomorrow they depart. A small group of players will get together in a skills camp from 29 to 3 June. The camp will take place at Hollywood Bets Kingsmead Stadium. Some of those players will also participate in two unofficial List A matches against Oman, who are preparing for the 2023 ICC Men's Cricket World Cup qualifiers. They'll be part of Hollywood Bets Dolphins Invitational side for the first two of 5 matches to be played against Oman. The first two matches will be on Wednesday, 31st May at Hollywood Bets King Stadium, and then 3rd of June at Chatsworth Oval. Both matches start at 9:30. Players attending that camp is Temba Bavuma, Bjorn Fortuin, Yana Manmalan, Andile Pechelquayo, Lungi Ngidi, Ryan Rickelton, Tabray Shamsi, and Rassi van der Dussen. So those are obviously players that are not part of the full SAA squad that are going to be a part of this particular tour. So what I like about this is that I think it's brilliant that they're giving opportunities to guys to still play and still be active during this period when there isn't any cricket happening. So I think that is a plus. On top of it, I think it's also a plus that they had these inter squad matches like a red versus blue, where you get to see a mixture of SAA players and future Proteas, as well as current Proteas play together and learn from each other, and also play against each other so that they can see who are the top tier players within the group. I think that's a brilliant move from them as well. Guavu saying, how long do you think Temba should be test captain, and would you consider Markram becoming test captain? I would in the near future, but I think as long as Temba's still bringing out the best in this particular team, I think he should stay captain. He did a good job in his first game. So let me bring on my guests, and then we can really start speaking to about this particular topics. I've got Aditya with me, and I've got Stuart with me. Welcome to the show, boys. Good to see you. How are you guys doing?
Um, I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
No, I'm good. I'm happy to see you guys. Aditya, how are you after the IPL final completed? You know, Super Kings again, winning again. Do you want to start, guys? There. Do you want to start with the IPL winners, and let's talk a little bit about that. Stuart, I know, like me, we haven't really been in keeping in touch with the IPL. That's why I bring on Aditya, because I know he's an avid watcher of the IPL. I'm not a big fan of it, as he knows, but I do keep an eye out on some of the Proteas players. Um, but I want to start with Chennai Super Kings winning this trophy again, and the importance of Dhoni and what he's built at this particular franchise. Aditya, take it away. Give us some insight into this tournament. What was great about it, and educate me and Stuart a little bit about this tournament and about that final.
Yeah, it's good to know that we're going to have a show till 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. Uh, but yeah, okay. So, guys, this is possibly the best ever IPL that I've witnessed in my life. Um, Absolutely insane. I've never seen anything like it. And first off, you look at the number of times that 200 has been scored in the first innings. You look at the number of times that 200 has been chased, and we're not talking just about 200, 205. We're talking about 250, 220 sort of scores being chased, being scored and chased on a regular basis throughout this IPL. It's been the most in the history of the competition of 16 years, right? So the batting has been taken to a next level. The bowling has been, it would seem that it hasn't done very well, but the bowling has been of high quality as well. And I think the real highlight for me was an innings played by a young Indian boy called Rinku Singh, who in the 20th over of a match against the Gujarat Titans needed to score 30 runs, and he hit five sixes and got it done. That is the stuff of legend. He is a boy from a small town in India, in the state of Uttar Pradesh, who grew up not even playing on proper pitches with a proper ball, with a proper bat. And this guy has come and he has helped his team win a game by scoring five consecutive sixes in the last innings of a T20 game against the former champions. That is unbelievable. And if we're talking about Chennai, oh my word, um, you look at, so there's an expression that MS Dhoni is at his best when he's dealing with players who are before their sunrise, that is before they've hit the peak of their careers, and after sunset, which is as they head into retirement, because he is so good at giving players such as Ajinkya Rahane, who for the last few years had developed this reputation as an anchor, and he's made him into a batsman who is scoring at a strike rate of close to 200 this IPL. That is insane stuff. And even yesterday, he really proved his worth with a 27 of 13 balls, and that cameo was invaluable to Chennai's victory. And obviously, it's the fifth title. Last night, if we go into the specifics of how the final took place, this is a final that has gone on for 2.5 days, guys. So over 100,000 people, full stadium, over 100,000 people in Ahmedabad. They're in high anticipation of a final on Sunday. Doesn't happen because of rain. We've got a reserve day, which is Monday. 100,000 people turn up on Monday. And Gujarat bats the first innings. They score, I think, was it 215, 214?
214.
And, and then there's rain for 2 hours. The spectators don't leave. They stay on, they get drenched, and they are dancing in the stands for 2 hours to all the music that is playing in the stadium. Literally. And then the game starts again at about quarter past midnight. Chennai are chasing 171 in 15 overs. They've got a good start thanks to Gruturaj Gaikwad and Devon Conway, and they have cameos from Shivam Dubey, Ajinkya Rane, and Raidu. And then Sir Jadeja comes in, right? Of the last two balls, they need 10 runs. And Sir Jadeja helps us with a six of the second last ball and a boundary of the last ball, and he takes Chennai home. And they have scored 171 runs in 15 overs. That is the stuff of legend. And the proceedings that night ended past 4 o'clock in the morning. And even then, no one left the stadium because it was counted that around the time that MS Dhoni was speaking, there were at least 75,000 people in the stadium.
It's incredible.
It's guys, I can't tell you what those scenes were. I was watching it from the UK, but I can't tell you what those scenes were and what the scenes are in Chennai this morning when they've welcomed the entire team and like the entire city has gone nuts. There was a story of a flight from I think Dubai to Bangalore yesterday when the match was going on, and the pilot, he announced that Chennai had won the IPL, and the entire flight erupted. And as they landed, everyone thanked the pilot before they disembarked the flight. This is the stuff of legend, guys, and I can only wish and pray someday that you guys can join me in India someday, and I can take you to an IPL game.
Now that I do want to do, Stu. I don't know how you feel, but I mean, I would love to experience the IPL live. That's definitely something that I'd like to do. Others feel there's so many games, and for me to watch every single game after a hectic South African cricket season, sometimes I just can't get my wrap my head around it to do watch every single game. But I watch now and again. But what I want to speak about is MS Dhoni and the culture and winning mentality is built at this team. Stuart, I want to get your thoughts on that because I feel that maybe South African teams, the SA20, etc., all of that, they can really learn from the way these things have gone by and the way the IPL has been run, of course, but as well as the that winning mentality within T20 cricket is something that South Africa is looking to build. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think Dhoni has proven his leadership qualities over a number of years. I mean, in the 2011 World Cup, I thought he was honestly the standout player for me, and especially in the final. But it just seems like, that coaching group at Chennai with Stephen Fleming and the backroom staff that they've got, they just know a formula for success. And I know Faf spoke about it quite a bit in his book, and um, I just think the IPL in general is a very nice tournament to watch, and it's also good for our players as well in South Africa when you see guys like Donovan Ferreira going there, and it's they're going to come back having learned a lot by rubbing shoulders with international players. Um, my concern with the IPL in general is that I'm starting to hear rumors of players like Trent Bolt and Jofra Archer, wanting to be, I don't know what you call it, like privately contracted players and play for, will be released to play for their countries when, the owners of the franchises kind of see fit. So I don't know how you could get around that because obviously, cricket is a business. But having said that, I'm all for our players participating in it. And yeah, I'd definitely love to go to India. I mean, the SA20 was so much fun. Can't imagine going to, like Mumbai or Chennai to go watch teams play. I've really liked what I saw this tournament. I was really impressed by in the games that I saw. Gaikwad was quite good. I really like him. I also like guys like Arshdeep Singh. I think he's a very, very skillful bowler, and I think he's underrated. Um, and yeah, I think it's nice to also see new faces coming out of these tournaments. It's not just the big name players like Ben Stokes and Steve's. Well, I don't think he was even in the tournament, but like it's not the big names coming out all the time, so it's really nice.
Guys, yesterday the top performer from a batting point of view was a young 20-year-old Indian kid called Sai Sudarshan, who scored 96 of 40-odd balls. And he apps and the ground in Ahmedabad is among the bigger ones, and he absolutely smoked the bowlers out of the park. We're talking about a 20-year-old kid who who's had a decent tournament, because the one thing that we need to recognize now in T20 cricket is that when your openers are doing really well, right? So Gill, for example, I think he scored over like 850 odd runs, for the season. Is that sometimes your lower order batters, whether it's 3, 4, 5, they may not score the number of runs that they would have had the openers not scored those runs. So, for example, if Gill had scored, let's say, 500 runs instead of 800, it's possible that 3, 4, 5 would have had more runs against their names in the tournament. But that's still a separate issue. I think we're talking about MS Dhoni, right? So I'll tell you some key insight that I've learned over the last few weeks. So Chennai is a team that is a product of consistency, right? All training sessions at Chennai are optional. They're all
I
optional.
didn't
There's
know
there
that.
are no
Didn't know that.
mandatory training sessions. So what they say is that you're a professional cricketer. You're supposed to be self-aware, and you're supposed to know what preparation you need to get yourself ready for a game.
Mm,
And so if you want to go to a training session, you go to a training session. You don't want to go to a training session because you don't need it, you don't go to a training session. You want to hit the gym because that's what you think you might need, you hit the gym, there's a trainer there. If you feel like you don't need to hit the gym and you need to rest, that's okay too. And every single player, before the tournament starts, they're in a camp. They're a 5 or 6 day camp where MS Dhoni and the coaching staff, they sit with each player individually, and we talk about 25 players here. They sit with each player. They tell them whether or not they're going to feature in the 11. But if they happen to feature in the 11, then these are the specific roles,
yeah.
and they're given very specific roles. So, a guy like Shivam Dubey, for example, he's played in the IPL for about 3 or 4 seasons, never really had a lot of success. He comes in here and he's told specifically that you're going to be brought in as a middle order batter to counter spin because that's what you're really good at. And he comes in when the spinners are on and he absolutely tonks them out of the park. He's had his most productive year in the IPL this year. Same with Ajinkya Rahane. We've never known him to be a big hitting batsman. Ajinkya Rahane was told that you're really good at facing pace. You're going to come one down if you get a chance in the starting 11. And he's tonking it at a strike rate of over 190. Never seen that before in the IPL. So, role clarity, optional training sessions, because they feel like if you're a professional cricketer, you know what you need. And while they're on the field, MS Dhoni says to them that always have your attention on me. If you drop a catch, it's not a problem. You will not face a react. You will not see any emotion on my face. I promise you that. But the reason I want you to face me while you're on the field is because there might be a 2 foot adjustment on this side or this side, and you should know that.
Yeah.
That's that's
He's
that's
incredibly
literally the
good.
CSK philosophy, and it's
Yeah.
continuity. If you're not in the 11, you may take a while to get an opportunity to play in the 11. But once you get your opportunity to play in the 11, you will have you will have ample opportunity to prove your worth in the team. So if you look at the number of changes that Chennai has made this season, they have played the same team for 10 games consecutively.
That's incredible, and that can't be a coincidence to their success. It can't. So it makes maybe makes us think about how we should go about it. Maybe I know it's completely different formats, or not formats, but levels when you're talking about the IPL to international. But maybe that could be a nod towards maybe some certain international coaches to perhaps maybe trust things. But I mean, trust certain players and give them a longer opportunity. But I'm with the current setup, and I want to move into South Africa now and talk about South Africa's situation. I think the IPL was a great starting point for us to talk about because it was a great final, as Aditya mentioned. But going into this new thing, let's talk about South Africa and the path that we're on currently. Because when I look at the decisions that have been made behind the scenes, for example, that this red and blue team, I know it wasn't um, necessarily promoted or spoken about in the mass media really as to it. Um, but what's your thoughts about this opportunity happening, and what does it do? What is it going to do for the future of South African cricket? Do you feel we're on the right path with these type of things, with them taking so much time and effort on giving people opportunity to be seen by our coaches, by our national coaches?
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely think that we're on the right track when it comes to that. Because you're starting to see guys like, for example, Sepo Mareki play well, and then now it's like given him a opportunity to be in the conversation for maybe being selected for an SAA tour. I'm not sure if he was, but
He was he's in the SA tour now for the Sri Lanka, I think.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
So I think from that sense it's good because
opportunity.
it's
Yeah,
building more squad depth from that perspective. And I also like to see, it's you can see the reason why they're selecting certain players, and it seems like there's a clear cut communication that's going on. I'm not sure what's happened with the 4-day competition, if they've increased the number of matches or not. I know after the Australian series, Dean said that they were talking about doing that.
yeah.
But I think I like to see more SAA tours, and it seems like that's definitely in the plans. And it also looks like we're starting to get some really talented youngsters coming through. I'm really happy that the under 19s are going on a tour. Um, the one thing I do think, I don't want to say we could get better with, is I think our talent ID is very good. But I like how England have got that, like that pathways roadmap program where they scout the players very young and they say, in 5 years' time, this is a role that you need to fulfill. And then they have like 5 years worth of data before they make their first class debut. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that, but these things take time. And I think Rob Walter's done an excellent job, and I also think Shukri's um, done an amazing job as coach. I think it's helped that they've been in the system for quite a while, so they've had a chance to identify what's going on. And yeah, I'm also happy to see guys like Aiden Markram performing again. So I'm sure you guys know, but yeah,
Yeah, of course.
yeah. All in all, it seems like we're on the right track, and yeah, I'm very happy.
I mean, Aditya, on this channel, we've been speaking about it for many, 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 well, for not many, many, many years. We haven't been around that long. But we've been speaking about having these like inter-squad type of matches between different teams that are a little bit mixed. What's your thoughts on that? And seeing that there was a SA blue versus SA red behind the scenes, and that these camps happening for the players that are not touring.
Yeah, so I think that's really useful, because I think in previous interviews that we've done with with coaches and selectors. When we've talked about South Africa A programs, I think there's a couple of factors that were sort of impediments were one was the cost of an SAA program, and the other was the schedule and the weather, I believe, because it was sort of difficult to organize SAA tournaments in the off season or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But look, having said that, the one thing that I've learned is that it's always good to have cricket under your belt. Uh, but the other thing is that mental skills training. I think that's really important because you there's only so much that you can control, right, with an SAA team and the amount of cricket that you can play. And ultimately you can try to organize as much cricket as you want to, but from one level to the next, as most international players will say, that you know you hit the you hit the ball the same way, but you have to have um, the mental strength to be able to graduate from one level to the next. And having read a couple of books now, with Faf du Plessis talking about it extensively, Shane Watson talking about it extensively, and again, Shane Watson was an individual who really sort of struggled with that through his career and almost found the best player that he could be towards the end of his career after he had recruited those skills. So I feel like that's an important part of it should be an important part of South African cricket going forward.
Because I mean, I'm looking at different things here, and I put up the updated graphic of the SA 18 because I remember that obviously, as said in the comment section as well, Corbin Bosch was replaced, and I did a show on that with the graphic and then explaining that there was a change that happened. And I hadn't put up the new graphic quite yet, so that's the updated graphic over there for you guys. But for this particular tour, there was a lot of talk about the squad and the lack of spinners picked and all of that, and um, the fact that they're going to Sri Lanka. Now, I did do a little story on to give some insight into the fact that it might not spin in Sri Lanka, particularly at the grounds that they will be playing at. From the people that I've spoken to behind the scenes, the grounds that they've picked to play at as well aren't necessarily very spinning grounds over there. And also the time that they are going in, it's not necessarily very conducive because of the amount of rain that's going to be happening around there, etc. There's not going to be as much spinning conditions um, in Sri Lanka during that period. It's going to also that's the reason why they've gone with that. But I think the emphasis to it, and we can't overlook this, is the fact that I think, and this is my thinking behind what they're doing here, and I hope that it's true. What I think they're going to be doing here is going to be giving someone like Deval Brevis and someone like Tristan Stubbs more opportunities with the ball, to try and give them a chance to show what they can do with the ball so that they can maybe perhaps, because I was talking to a friend of mine on the weekend at the Rondebosch versus Wamba game, and we were talking about this and maybe thinking about Tristan Stubbs and Deva Brevis. If they can add something extra with the ball, that means that they could bat in the seven position, a position that we're lacking with regards to a strong enough batter that we can trust. If they can both provide 2 overs, or one of them can provide 2 overs, that takes a lot of pressure off the other players in the team and the bowlers in the team. Plus, you have an out and out batter at seven then in that particular regard. So I do think that the thinking behind that, from me looking at this particular squad, is that perhaps giving them opportunities to be able to bowl a little more and trust them. Because I've heard quite a lot of talk from the likes of Mashimbi. Um, I've spoken to certain players certain coaches or players from other franchises too that have spoken about Deval Brevis's ability to risk in risk with regards to risk spin, and that they're going to be focusing on that a lot more with regards to improving that. He's spoken about it too in the past, that he would want to put more emphasis on the fact that he can build spin, and that it can really increase his chances of being in the national team. Aditya, after Stuart, I want to hear what Mumbai Indians have spoken about with regard, if you've heard anything in regards his wrist spinning, and if there's any talks or questions that have been asked in that coaching um, fraternity over there that they have, or the coaching setup. But Stuart, what do you think about that? Maybe giving an opportunity to the likes of Tristan Stubbs and Deva Brevis to improve on their bowling and to get their bowling skills up, so that Rob Walter also has an option of maybe perhaps having a batter at 7 that can bowl a bit.
Yeah, I think it's quite a clever move. I especially think Dewald as a wrist spinner will give us a different dynamic in white ball cricket. I know he did bowl a little bit. I don't know if it was the IPL or the SA20, but I know he has bowled a bit. And as you said, Manda spoke
Both.
about with him with Rashid Khan. I think in my Cape Town that he spoke to him quite a bit.
He dismissed Virat Kohli, by the way.
Um,
So, yeah.
well, then I'm all for it. I haven't really watched. I think Stubbs bowls off spin. I haven't really watched him bowl
Mm.
that much, if I'm honest. But I'm all for it. So the whole purpose of these SAA tours are obviously learning and to see um, flexibility of players. I do think going to India though, I'd like to maybe see someone like Mutsasamy in the squad because I think he could maybe be, or George Linder, they could maybe be a safer spinning option. But yeah, I'm happy that they're giving Tristan Subs and Devon Brevis a chance to prove themselves as bowlers.
I don't know if they are. I'm assuming, I'm making an assumption. It's just a theory that I'm going through when I look at that, because I can't see any other reasons for it. If I'm going to have to logically deduct from the squad that was selected, that's gonna be my thought process, because
Yeah.
there's been a lot of talk about them providing something extra. Tristan either as a keeper, because Tristan keeps as well as he can bowl, and we've always spoken about that as a possible option. But we know Deva Brevis's wrist spin is quite good. I mean, he has a lot to improve on, yes, still. But I mean, I would like to see him bowl more, because it's very seldom that you find a wrist spinner in South African cricket. We
Mm.
struggle to find them in South African cricket because if you look at the conditions in South Africa, genuinely, if you're not staying in Durban or you're not staying in those areas, I mean, fine, being a spinner might not be in your best interest. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, a lot of the time, we produce a lot of off spinners and we don't produce a lot of wrist spinners in South Africa because, I mean, it's South Africa. We can only look in our history. How many wrist spinners have we produced in Proteas ever? The one really good one besides Paul Adams, there's the only one from South Africa. The other one we had to go get from Pakistan, and he had to marry a South African lady to get the citizenship to play for South Africa. So maybe we have to go steal Rashid Khan, introduce him to a nice South African Macy, and maybe he can be our next spinner for South Africa.
But remember, in between all of those circumstances, you did have a wrist spinner who quit bowling because of his shoulder injury.
Uh,
That gentleman was known as Francois Duplessis,
Yeah,
uh,
and
that was a long time ago.
he's got a World Cup wicket, mate. He's got Virendra Sehwag out in um, in the 2011 World Cup. So I think if so I know I have seen visuals of Devon Brevis bowling, during Mumbai Indians practice sessions, but I wonder if that risk of injury is playing on his mind though. I hope it's not, but there's a very real risk that it could have bearing on your shoulder, right, over a long period of time, and
Mm.
definitely don't want that to happen to Bravis
To someone
because
like Brevis.
yeah, I think it's not worth it because at some point if it if the potential like the potential cost of being that all rounder is that your primary strength in cricket tends to be compromised, then I'm not sure that's worth it. So
Mm. Yeah, but I mean, I know it might be crazy. You guys might think I'm crazy, but in the T20 setup, if we're going to bring in someone and he can maybe, I'm not saying that he needs to bowl 4 overs, but I mean, if he can bowl 1 or 2 to take some pressure off one of the other bowlers in the team and bat him at 7, we can fully be free and open and not have to worry too much about, I have to score every single game. If he's batting in the top 3 at the moment at the age that he is, it might be give him that license and freedom to settle in with regards to in the international setup as well at this moment in time until we can move him up the order and play him at 3 or when the team is starting to develop and grow a little bit and starting to lose some of its older guys that are in the side. um but I mean, you know what my thoughts are on Riley Rousseau. I don't, for me personally, I know it's T20 cricket. A lot of people disagree with me that you don't need consistency in T20 cricket as much as you need in ODIs and Test cricket. But I would like my number 3 to be a lot more consistent, and I don't think Riley Rousseau is very consistent. He does score ever now and again. He'll score a massive score and maybe win a game for his team. And sometimes in that time when he scores every few games, he might not win that game for the team, and it's actually just a score for nothing. So that's my
Sorry, if I
concern
may,
at the moment in the T20 setup. Yeah, you can
sorry,
come
if
in.
I may just squeeze in real quick. So the thing is, with what you're saying about him using that discipline to bowl 1 or 2 overs, as he settles into the team, I think the dynamic is very different for a batter who bowls leg spin versus a batter who bowls off spin. And it like your body mechanics change a fair bit. And I think you asked Steve Smith as well, because remember when Steve Smith was drafted into the Australian team, I'm not sure a lot of people knew that he was primarily a batsman who bowled, but he was selected for his leg spin, and he was batting at 8. And ultimately he had to give up leg spin. But I feel like if Steve Smith was an off spinner, and then that situation might have been very different. But I think because of the mystery element, people tend to favor leg spinners. But it's just that leg spin takes a lot more out of you physically
Mm.
with the amount of practice, and it has more of an effect on your shoulder than finger spin does. So that's
Yeah,
a consideration,
but
I guess.
I think that because I mean, he's done it his whole life already. He's bowled wristband since he was a kid, so it's not like it's something new that he's trying to learn now that might, hamper him. I think that with the coaches today and the physios that we have, that they can monitor that, and I'm sure that they will be able to monitor something like that, especially with some at this professional level that we're playing at. But it's just my thoughts on that in particular. Let's get into some of the comments. Are you guys? Stuart, do you want to add anything to that?
No, you guys have mentioned it all.
Okay. Let's get into some of the comments over here. Opinions on favorite playing ODI. I'm thinking I'm assuming that you mean what for playing ODI 11 with current form. Yeah or nay? Um, okay, so you want to talk about that, guys? You want to go around? Maybe I should just facilitate it a bit by saying, do we want any changes to that opening partnership? Maybe Temba and Quinton to open the batting in ODI cricket. Any changes there? You guys say yay or nay? No? Okay, cool. Number 3 is a proper issue, I think, because we've got the likes of Rasif van der Dussen, who's out of form, but he has an amazing ODI record. Then we've got the likes of Riza Hendricks that can play there, that is in great form since the end of the season, of course, but he's been now it's a new season, so it's brand new slate. Then you got the likes of Aiden Markham that could also play there, but potentially. Um, so I'll think out of those 3, who do we pick at number 3? Because I don't think they will recall Faf for ODIs. I think they're looking at T20 cricket for that. So let's go around and see. Aditya, who's your preferred number 3, and then Stuart?
Rassi van der Dussen, always. And also, it's important to take into consideration that now he's had a bit of a break. He'll come back rejuvenated and fresh, and he would have worked out what went wrong for him previous season. So, that's part and parcel of the volume of cricket that people play these days. So not too concerned about his lack of form.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think Rassi as well. I think form is temporary, class is permanent. I thought he played quite well against England when he made that 100. And as Aditya said, he has had a break. And I also think, from a leadership point of view, I think he also adds a bit of, in that way to the group. And, you've got to account for a bit of experience when you're going into a World Cup. So I
Mhm.
think based on form and based off the fact that he's been one of our better ODI batters, I would put him in at three.
I think as well as three. So let's go on to four. Aiden Markram. Everybody agree with that? Disagree with Aiden at four?
No.
Of course, Stuart's gonna say yes. I mean, we both are big fans of him. So when it comes to five, it gets a bit interesting because five and six. So we lack quite a bit of finishes in the game. But me personally, I would like to see someone like Heinrich Klaassen in at five, and Muller at six, or Muller at five and Heinrich at six. One of the two options. Now we are also playing in India, so we must also remember that you might play two spinners, and there might be someone that can come in that can play six as a spinner. So what could you guys do at five and six? Let's go around Aditya and then Stuart.
Kilo Miller at five, and I think he's earned the right to play at five. He's done years of service to the South African team, and I think he deserves the opportunity to play those extra balls to have that impact. And again, I think his most successful position has been at five, in my view. Sometimes it's good to give a player a few additional balls before he can launch, and yeah, I think he deserves that opportunity. Also, it's good to break that left-right combination a bit. So you have Aiden at four, Miller at five, Klaassen at six. So that might just be disruptive for bowlers.
Yeah. I
Uh,
mean, I think that's also dependable on match situation. Muller normally comes out dependable on the match, and in Muller and Klaassen dependable on the game situation, which is awesome to have that. So I agree with Aditya in that. Stuart, what's your thoughts?
so I'd pick Miller at five. Um, uh, I think, as Aditya said, lately it looked like, especially in ODIs when we played against England, in some of the games, it did take him a while to get going. So I think it's better bringing him in a little bit earlier so he can at least get his eye in. And I think Klaassen has been in great form in the IPL. I know we can't really, compare different formats, but I just think, he's playing with confidence at the moment. So I definitely put him in there.
Awesome. So now comes the difficult part. Aditya is going to leave. So thanks, Aditya, for coming on the show. Me and Stuart will finish off the difficult part of this. He's leaving before the difficult part. Can we just hear your number seven before you go? Who would you play at seven?
Oh, it's a difficult one, yeah. I like having a youngster there. So maybe if depending on if you want to lengthen the batting lineup, then I'd say Tristan Stubbs. But on another day, I feel like Wayne Parnell can be a useful number seven.
Okay. Okay, cool. And
What are your
Jansen?
options?
Jansen?
Yeah. So I think that also depends on the opposition, right? So
Yeah.
because
Okay, cool.
that's yeah.
I'd also maybe think George Linda could maybe be in the conversation.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
we
I don't
all
think he.
spoke about that. Yeah,
But
we
I,
all
I,
spoke about that.
but I'm one for experience because I think about how I think about the impact that Wayne Parnell made with RCB this year at the IPL, and you feel like you're doubtful when you hear the name because you feel like it'll take a little bit of time to get in, but he was in the game straight away.
Mm,
So
Mm,
I think experience matters,
interesting.
mindset matters, and he seems like a more collected player now, with more
mm,
control and stuff. So
And he even got a T20 Blast contract now as well recently. So
yeah,
mm.
yeah.
interesting. So
Cheers,
thanks,
boys.
Aditya. We'll see
Thank
you
you.
again very soon on the show. So for me personally, if they don't have George Linder in the team, Stuart, then for me I would go with I like Janssen. I want a youngster there, left arm seamer,
Mm.
coming in there. and then at 8 is the tricky one. But we're lacking those spinning options, you know. So
Yeah.
I mean, Wayne Parnell is a great player as well, and I think he's more of an 8. So either Magala or Wayne Parnell at 8, in my opinion. For you, in your opinion, what would you do with the number 8 position? Because 9 for me is Bjorn Fortuin, and then the rest
Yeah.
picks itself. You know, KG, Anas, and maybe another spinner in Tabray Shamsi or who else is there.
So I think um, Wayne Parnell should be the eight, with Janssen at 7. I think it would be quite useful having two left arm seamers, and they also offer different stuff. Like Janssen gets a lot more bounce, um, and I think we saw in the SA20 and the bits that I've seen in the IPL, he's been getting a bit of swing as well, which I'm quite encouraged with. And also, they both have proven their quality with the bat. So I do think they're probably the best option there.
Awesome. So that's our basically our favorite 11 guys. I would like to know your teams in the live chat as well. Give me some of what you guys have to say. I see some people have been commenting while we were talking over here. Um, and of course, you're going to chirp me about United. Uh, yes, Lawrence, I know there's a big game this weekend, eh? Between my team and your team. Oh, yeti. Don't understand. He says over here Manchester might have something to say about the treble, because Tex mentioned the trebles almost a guarantee for City. I do think City will pass them though, and you guys have the better team. You guys have the better squad. At the moment, I feel we're still in finding our way when it comes to that. And I know this is not a football podcast, but I sometimes like to speak about my other love, which is football. So I think United have to play out to their skins if they want to stop that treble from happening. So good luck to you, Lawrence, and your team. And I hope that my team comes out on top. Okay, so let's move on. Tabo says Rousseau's defensive game is gone. He lost it. He started playing T20 cricket more. It's interesting because it's almost like he doesn't. It's almost like we can see that he hasn't played 4-day cricket competitively in a long time. You know that game of. I always say that 4-day cricket has helped T20 players to be able to be more patient and to be able to play more strokes when it comes to different variations that they're facing. Because in T20 cricket now, variations wins you games, slower deliveries, being able to smack the slower deliveries, swinging balls, spin, etc. All those variations are the key weapons in T20 cricket to become a successful T20 team and to have the balance. And 4-day cricket helps you to be able to combat that, in my opinion, because it gives you strokes that it helps you learn the strokes that you need to be able to combat that in the first place. So if you look at the top run scorers in the IPL this year, for example, and in the SA20 as well, a lot of them are all 4-day batters, 4-day cricketers that were top in the standings, and there's a reason for that, you know. A lot of them, yes, are opening batters, so they have a longer opportunity to bat. But majority of them are also the openers, or majority of the time are 4-day cricketers that have that experience. Um, Ahmed says Kevin Peterson went to England as an off spinner who can bat a bit. Lawrence Bailey, Aditya, okay, that's for Aditya. Rasi 3 all day long, our best ODI player still, in my opinion, says that Lawrence, RVD. So there's people, these are people obviously agreeing with what we said in our best 11. Remember, we will do previews and picking the teams and allowing fans to pick the 11 before the Australia series. And for the guys that don't know what's going on with regards to that, let me just update them. I know, Stuart, I'm talking a lot here. You can just butt in at any point. On cricketfanaticsmag.com, I put up a FTP tab on the website as well for you guys to be able to see what games we will be playing when. So if you click on FTP over here on the top, there's a little article over here about our FTP program, and it gives you all the matches that South Africa will be playing in the coming days. So August to September, we play Australia. 20, so three T20s and five ODIs in South Africa. And then Wednesday, the 30th of August, that's the first game in Durban. Then I've split it up as well for you to see every single game. Then in September, October, there's a Road and Safety World Series in 2023. It's a T20 series, and the venue is in India. Then October, November will be the World Cup, of course, which we are all obviously working towards. Then in December, January, we will be playing a test series, two match test series against India, three ODIs and three T20s. Then in February, we go to New Zealand, two tests. And then in May, South Africa will tour the West Indies, 2024 with three T20s. And then in July 2024, South Africa will tour Ireland, three ODIs and three T20s. And in August 2024, South Africa will tour West Indies with two tests and five T20s. And then October, November, South Africa will tour Bangladesh 2024 with two test matches. And then in November, December 2024, Sri Lanka tour South Africa 2024, two test matches. Then December 2024, January 2025, Pakistan tour South Africa, two test matches, three ODIs, three T20s. February 2025, Pakistan tri-series in Pakistan for ODIs. And then June 2025, South Africa tour Zimbabwe, two tests. July 2025, Zimbabwe tri-series 2025, four T20s. And then August 2025, South Africa to Australia, three ODIs, three T20s. September 2025, South Africa to England, three ODIs, three T20s. Help me get there, guys. I would love to go and actually and go watch some international cricket in England. South Africa to Pakistan 2025, two tests, three ODIs, T20s in November 2025. Then November to December, South Africa 12, India this time, two tests, three ODIs, five T20s. Stuart, we must try to get ourselves there one day. And then September to October 2026, January, February 2026, West Indies tour South Africa, five T20s. Australia tour of South Africa 2026. Bangladesh tour of South Africa in 2026, two tests and three ODIs. England tour of South Africa 2026-27, three matches, three tests and three ODIs, three T20s. And then February, March 2027, South Africa tour of Sri Lanka 2027. It's two tests. So that's the FTP for you guys to see what's happening there. Tickets are on sale as well for the Australia series that's happening now in November. So please go grab your tickets for that as well. Oh yes, Lauren says he supports Arsenal. Oh, I forgot about that. Lorenzo
I mean,
supports
that's basically like the Man City team now. You know, they're signing Gundogan, Zinchenko, Jesus. So technically, it's the same team.
They don't have Gundogan. Are they going to sign Gundogan now?
Oh, apparently it's a
Gundogan.
rumor. Apparently it's a rumor.
Yeah,
But I
interesting.
don't know.
Interesting.
And Cancelo
He's a bloody good
apparently
player.
as well. Yeah.
Ilya saying, who's gonna be the batsman for World Cup? Faf Riley. Oh, the backup batsman. Faf Riley, Stubbs, Rickleton, Brevis. It's gonna be
I'd say
interesting to see.
my guess would probably be Stubbs at this rate. Because I think he, you know, we need a spare finisher. I haven't seen Riley play a lot of one-day cricket. I mean, not Riley, sorry. Ryan play a lot more one-day cricket for South Africa. I think he's only played a handful of games, so I think he's definitely in the conversation. But I don't think it will be Faf, Brevis, or Riley, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I agree with you over there as well. We're gonna have to wait and see what happens on this SAA tour as well to see what happens, who performs, who doesn't perform, what their thought processes are there too. Let me just see something quickly. I just want to double check the SAA tour. Let me just pop this up on the screen for you guys to see as well. You see, it's interesting because the backup batter will be mainly picked based on what they need at the time, where the gaps are. Okay, here's the SAA tour. So there are three ODIs and two 4-day games. So the way that team looks and the way they pick that team, it pretty much seems like they are focusing mainly on, or not focusing mainly on, they're trying to balance both 4-day and Test cricket while also taking into account the white ball team for Rob. So, and to find someone there that can maybe give Rob extra options. So I think that's
Yeah,
what the thought process is going to be over there as well. Um,
yeah,
I, th- I think at the moment, seeing that we don't really have many replacements, I think the one area that we lack with regards to replacements is not the top order; it's the bottom order. So 5, 6. I think that those are the two positions that we lack. And out of those names over there, Stubbs is the only one, and Brevis perhaps, if he's going to play lower down the order at first when he comes into the international setup, that could be either Brevis or Stubbs that maybe gets that nod, because at the top of the order, I think we're quite sufficient
yeah,
over there with regards to Riley, with regards to Riza Hendricks. Um, you've got uh, Rassi van der Dussen, you've got Temba, you've got Quinton. So we've got quite a few names, and even Tony De Zorzi to an extent as well, because he's been picked in ODI team recently. So that's also in the ODI squad recently and an ODI team recently. So that's at least something that we can look at. That is hard evidence. They might even pick an extra all-rounder, not necessarily an extra batter, says Lawrence. Looks good for us. Finally, we're playing more test cricket, says Wakas. Yes, and they're trying to get more games, from what I've heard and my conversations that I've had behind the scenes. They are pushing to get more games, as well. So that's something that we also have to look at. Stuart, are you frozen? Yeah, I think he's frozen. Might be load shedding. Okay, so Stuart's frozen. He's been disconnected. Um, yeah, so it's good to see that, but they will obviously look at multiple things when it comes to that. I think they're going to look at who's the best that they have, etc. Um, I just want to tell Stu it's okay because we're gonna end the stream now soon. Tabo saying recall Verena doesn't look very likely at the moment, when it comes to ODI cricket and white ball cricket. Even though I'm a big fan of his, and we've had an exclusive interview with him as well, that you can check on the channel. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, so from the conversations that I've had behind the scenes, they are trying very hard to try and get, um, more Test cricket. Um, at the moment, it's in the ICC's hands as well. You know, they haven't necessarily been very kind to the nations like South Africa, especially when it comes to Test cricket. But that's also got to do with the amount of revenue that that Test cricket brings into the country, I think. Because I don't, because Test cricket doesn't bring as much, money into the country as with regards to expenditure and profit, and the net profit. The amount of money we spend on test series or test matches compared to how much we get in return, I don't think it balances out very nicely compared to other formats. You will know, if you have a T20 game or an ODI game, majority of the time it's sold out in South Africa. So if it's played in the right time, at the right place, at the right venues, etc. Because not in every single city do we sell out games. Particularly Pretoria, Johannesburg, Cape Town, sometimes Durban, and a lot of the times PE as well. Those venues generally sell out when it comes to cricket games in South Africa. If you're playing Potch and other grounds, perhaps not as much, but sometimes Potch does surprise us because they don't get a lot of cricket and it's a student city. So a lot of the time we do get an opportunity to see, a full stadium in Potch. We are behind in Test cricket experience currently. We definitely are, and it's about giving as many opportunities to these players. That's why I like the SAA tour and the team that was selected, because we're going to get a real good competition for these guys in Sri Lanka in international conditions, to be able to learn more and spend time with a national coach. And that's why I like the fact that Shukri Conrad's in charge of that SAA team, because it really will give them an early, understanding of what is expected of them at an international level. And I'm pretty sure that Shukri would put things in place to allow them to have that type of experience, to teach them about certain things that they need to know about the international game, and to see who is ready and who is not to take on the pressure. But guys, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed guys enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. This is the latest issue we published today. Link is on the screen as well as in the description right now. So please go ahead and support us there, guys. Very important that you guys do so. It's 100% free. So you don't have to worry about paying anything with regards to that. So please get involved with that. Also, become a patron today. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. This is how you support us, our content producers, everybody that's involved with us. That's how you get you help us stay alive and stay producing content, etc. So please get involved by clicking on the link on the screen or in the description. I'd also like you guys to please smash the like, comment, and share, as well as go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all the regular updates. Guys, thanks a lot for tuning in and really making the show entertaining. I'm sure I'll bring on Stuart and Aditya and the guys again in the next coming days to come and chat about different topics. And we can continue these shows on a daily basis once again. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Peace out.